Hops and Monsters. Hi, I'm Charlie.
I'm Ben.
We got Engineer Ant.
I have a microphone today.
Yeah, you do.
We got 2 ants and a microphone.
Sounds good, I assume.
Yes.
Yes. This is Hops and Monsters, a weekly discussion of all things nerd, and we're having a couple of beers, and real quick, Anthony Garcia Audio.
Yeah.
.com.
AnthonyGarciaAudio.com.
For all your audio needs, if you guys need anything. Ben's grabbing some chips. Shout out to Late July Snacks for the jalapeno lime bacon habanero chips. I'm drinking a Sapporo imported premium beer because we are going to be talking about Japanese cinema tonight. Specifically, the king of the monsters, Godzilla. I can't believe it's taken us this long to talk about the king. You know, you think this is where you would start. If you're Hops and Monsters, it's in the name of the show, and we're a good 14 deep before we get to the king of the monsters. So we're going to try to talk about that tonight, and then we're going to talk about some Japanese gore and recent J-horror and kind of all the current splatter stuff that's going on over there that we love. Right, Ben?
Right.
Yeah. I know, you're eating chips. I love it. Also, should we just say this with the... we want to do a contest. If you go on our Facebook page, facebook.com/hopsandmonsters, you'll see the logo. It's nice. I like it. I like the concept, but I want something a little bit more Creature from the Black Lagoon. I want something a little bit more intense, maybe
right,
a little
but
darker.
something that also looks good on a beer label.
So yeah, and it's definitely going to be a beer label. So you'll get all the gratuity from that. Anyways, email us hopsandmonsters@gmail.com if you've got a sketch or an idea or some monster beer themed artwork.
We're partial to Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I'm all about it. Yeah, but I'll take Wolfman. I'll take Frankenstein. I don't, if it looks good, it looks good. So we kind of want to see if anyone's out there.
Yeah,
so,
if anyone actually is listening to this.
hopsandmonsters@gmail.com. All right, so I've got my Sapporo, Ben. You've got the Hell's Bells from Ninkasi.
Yep.
So one of my earliest memories growing up is going to the video store every weekend. And back in the day, before Netflix, you went to a building somewhere in a strip mall, and you looked at racks of VHS tapes, and you picked one out and took it home.
Blockbuster, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Shit.
Video rental. It was a thing. And I was allowed a movie a week. And I would go, and 9 times out of 10, I would get a Godzilla movie.
Well, you had at least 20 to choose from by then.
I had a bunch to choose from. Some were really good. Some were not so good. But there was a lot of them. Personal favorites included The Smog Monster, Destroy All Monsters, anything with a bunch of monsters in it.
Yeah, the Monster Fest for sure.
But yeah, so Godzilla, the
Monsters of Rock,
the king of the monsters, and this is something that comes out in like 1955 originally, and it's kind of the first big monster that was taken seriously, because in America we would do the big tarantula movie or the big
King Kong
movie. We had King Kong. Yeah, King Kong's up there definitely, but Godzilla was just kind of a new level of destruction and terror, and it really spoke, to the Japanese psyche of the atomic aftermath that they had been suffering through. So it was kind of the first time the
which
monster
is all on us.
Was, yeah, exactly. It was kind of the first time the monster was a metaphor for something bigger, and I just loved Godzilla growing up because I loved seeing buildings get smashed. There wasn't really much more to it than that as a kid. You love to see the fighting and everything. But I think the older you get, the more you kind of understand the psyche. Like I said, the inspiration behind it. So
yeah, I mean, they got nuked twice at the end of the war, and pretty much anything that represented a nuclear holocaust to them, they created into this giant lizard figure.
Yeah, he was a walking embodiment of all that terror that they went through. And
so this new Godzilla film.
So we recently both just saw Shin Godzilla, I guess we're calling it.
Right.
Godzilla Resurgence is another name. And it came out last year in Japan. Toho Studios, back at it. I think it's been like 12 years since their last Godzilla movie, because they did a bunch of them in the early 2000s and then just stopped for a long time. So this is a total remake, reboot. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a reboot. From what I understand.
Exactly. This is a brand new Godzilla, and I think this might be maybe my favorite.
I think it's my favorite.
It was really awesome to watch it and to get sucked in and have that feeling like I did as a little kid watching this and seeing this monster come out of the water and seeing everything that it went through, and it really brought me back.
Yeah,
to
he
that
was
time.
actually transforming the whole time. He started out as like this giant eel-looking creature with big bug eyes, and
really cool. Yeah,
eventually he sprouts limbs when he gets onto the land.
Yeah, it's like nothing they've ever really done with Godzilla before to make him this mutating, multiform creature that kind of eventually looks like the Godzilla but he's got this pulsing red kind of under the skin, under the armor, kind of glowing.
Like he's got a nuclear reactor in his heart.
Very unsettling kind of look because the big bug eyes. It was kind of like instead of the little black eyes.
When I first saw that, I was like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Really?" But there are species of eel that actually do have eyes like that.
Yeah, it was very strange. So I mean, if you read the Wikipedia page about Shin Godzilla, you'll be told, and it's not too much of a stretch to know that this is kind of the response to the radiation scare and the disaster at Fukushima after the tsunami in 2011. Obvious perils here, or parallels, I'm sorry, here. And
that's exactly it.
But the thing that really captured my interest in this movie, oddly enough, was the bureaucratic response to Godzilla.
Yeah. There was a lot of talking going on in a Godzilla film.
This movie is definitely 2/3 of the government sitting in boardrooms and conference rooms
trying to decide what to do about this and how can they capitalize it and spin it to make them look better.
Yeah.
Not unlike current politics.
And it's very relatable. And I've read a lot of things that like this is a very Japanese bureaucratic kind of thing. Because, you watch, basically the movie starts with this disturbance in the bay right outside of Tokyo, and people see a tail waving around, and they know something's up. But the movie is then these officials going, okay, well, something's in the water. Who do we contact about that? Who knows anything about this? We have to have a meeting in this room. Now we have to have a meeting in that room. It's very kind of calculated by the book while this ongoing thing is happening.
Yeah, it's very real time.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch live Twitter feeds and stuff happening.
Yeah, I think it's really great, and it's really cool how they put it together because it sounds like it might be boring, but the editing is really brisk. The pace is really fast, so it keeps you involved, and it's got all these sharp close-ups of the people trying to figure it out. But it's such a look at the government response to a developing disaster, and especially I like the way how Godzilla does mutate in this movie, because at first they go, well, it's some sea creature, it's not going to come on land, we don't have to worry about that, and then it does come on land. It's kind of, basically in real time that tsunami was like, it happened, and then we don't have to worry about this, and then it's like, and then it hit the nuclear power plant, and then so it's how the situation changes throughout the day and throughout the time period. And they're trying to adapt to it.
Go quickly very to shit.
Yeah, they really go
when
to shit.
He makes landfall.
And and Godzilla he's very scary in this one, but I loved kind of.
He's very demonic looking.
Yeah,
this time.
He definitely just.
He's able to like swat a whole bunch of planes out of the sky. Just he has like these lasers that shoot out of the back of his spine.
Yeah, have you ever seen? Has that ever been a thing? I don't think that's ever been a thing with Godzilla. His fins or whatever, right on the back, they shoot out lasers like his breath. His tail is
his breath
waving
is
around.
Far more disturbing than or destructive than he used to be.
Very disturbing. I was disturbed. Yeah. Or the way he opens his mouth,
disturbingly destructive.
His jaw. It's it's really creepy. And the ending of it, they finally figure out a way, because he's this walking reactor.
Right. So didn't he run out of power for like a week?
Yeah.
Just
he has
stood
to cool
still
himself
in the middle
down,
of the city.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that. Yeah, it was a lot of really inventive kind of ways to reapproach this really well known.
Yeah, this is really the best way to do a reboot, I think.
Because I was talking with you, Ant, earlier. You love the 1998 Godzilla. Am I
Really?
wrong?
No.
No.
As a film, no. I like the soundtrack, but I really
Yeah,
love
we-
Cloverfield.
Cloverfield's kind of a
Now
kind of a
that was a
reinvention of
legit
the-
American
of the
Godzilla
giant
film.
monster. Yeah.
Cloverfield.
Yeah, how? Yeah, do you remember in 1998 where they had all the? They were gonna have that big Roland Emmerich movie come out. And they had all the advertising. It was like his foot is the length of this bus.
Yeah, yeah.
His arm is the size of this, and it's like such buildup. I don't remember any other movie in my childhood where there was so much buildup, and then you go see the thing, and it's like, what? It just fell so flat.
Was it Matthew Broderick was in
Matthew
that?
Broderick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Action hero Matthew Broderick.
It's either him or
Well-known
John
action
Cusack.
hero. Yeah.
Oh yeah, from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
One
who
of
you
the
want taking
great
on
80s action
the
flicks.
king of the monsters.
It is a great film.
Hank Azaria, a well-known action star, Hank Azaria was in that cast. Oh, it was just such a bummer. Such a bummer. That's not how you remake Godzilla. But
That was a reflop.
I like the 2014 one that Gareth Edwards did.
Yeah.
We maybe talked a little bit about that when we talked about Rogue One, because he did that.
You know, seeing
That
Rogue
movie was
One makes
fun.
me want to go back and revisit that Godzilla film because I did go to the theater and see it, and I was totally let down.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like. You know what? I mean, the acting and the two main characters and stuff. That's totally get over that. But you know what? A lot of Godzilla movies are just like
They had Bryan
human,
Cranston, right?
human,
From
blah
Breaking
blah
Bad.
blah. Where's the monsters? Like I felt very much like I was watching a Godzilla movie in that sense.
And they're just
of,
done with
like,
them in the first
waiting
20
for the
minutes.
monster
What
to
the
show
hell?
up. Yeah. There's so many of those movies in the 60s and 70s, especially, where you're just like, all right, get to it, man.
Yeah,
Where
well-
is Godzilla?
And that's the suspense. They make you imagine what's happening. It's like, you know, the old horror movies where it's all in your imagination because they didn't have the technology to really show you the monster.
Yeah.
So you build it up in your head, which is kind of the ultimate horror.
Yeah.
You know, you create your own
Well,
adventure.
Hitchcock was a master of this. He
Yes.
would say in interviews, it's like, everyone knows what's going to happen. You know the woman's going to get slashed to pieces at the end of the film. It's when it's going to happen
Right.
that's interesting, and that's where it's really surprising.
Well, and yeah, I think that 2014 movie that really did build up that suspense. So when they finally had the final battle kind of in San Francisco,
yeah.
which we were just talking about how we're going to do a every time San Francisco gets destroyed episode. Which
How
I'm
many movies can we list for that?
really looking forward to. But
How many times did they rebuild the Golden Gate Bridge in the time span?
it looks great. Yeah, every
history.
time. Yeah, and but when they did finally have that final battle with him and the two other monsters, I thought that was a good payoff. So, but Shin Godzilla was amazing. It just really stays with me. And there's a final shot where you see its tail, and something weird's going on with that tail. And I don't want to spoil it, but stick around for that movie.
It's a tale of a tale.
And I don't, and we had to like kind of find it online. It's not really out in America. So
Yeah, they pulled it off the website. And I finally watched it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not there anymore.
So-
I'm still waiting for a US Blu-ray release.
So keep on the lookout. Yeah, we'll definitely keep talking about if we find it, if we know it's out there, because I really think everyone should watch it. It's great. I don't know. It really stuck with me. It was much better than I thought it would be. So
It was very visually arresting.
because Godzilla was always growing up. It was always fun. There was always a little bit of horror and scariness, but not really. Those movies, especially like in the 70s, they're just big monsters fighting each other. It's for the spectacle of it, you know. And,
It's what wrestling does.
So this movie really does kind of reintroduce the fear of Godzilla. I think.
Yeah,
There's
he's
a
genuinely
genuine-
actually frightening.
Yeah,
this
there's
time
a real
around.
menace to him, and you really do root for the people to stop him. You're not rooting for Godzilla, and you're supposed to root for Godzilla in all those movies, basically. You know, except that first one. So this is very much like that first destructive, dark. Kind of,
there's pretty much no way
tone.
he can be turned to the use for good here. He's just all bad.
yeah, and yeah, can't recommend it enough.
He just wants to steamroll over everything. He doesn't care about you.
Yeah, but Godzilla really, I think he is kind of the one that started the giant monster trend. King Kong, like we said, had some success, but no one was really keeping up with that until Godzilla came around, and then it was all the giant monsters in the 50s, in America, and then everything we've seen with the kaiju and Jaegers and Pacific Rim and everything.
Which I thought was a really great movie. I actually really liked it.
I loved it.
I like
yeah.
anything Guillermo del Toro does.
Yeah, I really enjoy that movie. Any kind of anime that comes out with the giant monsters, so it's all based on that.
It's kind of interesting
Now-
because it's the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So you have these massive beasts that just wreak destruction on their own.
Right.
But when, an evil force comes along or some other massive creature comes along, it's like, oh, okay, well, they're
can
going to
use
save
him,
the day.
Yeah, exactly. And Godzilla kind of does become that like the regulator.
Yeah.
Especially in that
regulate.
2014 Gareth Edwards movie. He's like no. No, you are
Now, the
not
whole
having
point of-
babies. You giant monsters, no. You are not getting together. No, he's stepping in there like, no, over here, you bat. No, stay
Now,
away.
correct me if I'm wrong, but the point of that recent Godzilla film was that nature always has an opposing element when something gets out of control. And
I think
Godzilla
so.
was supposed to be that.
Yeah. Godzilla's is that factor. That
Nature finds a way.
But in
Yeah,
Shin
that check and
Godzilla,
balance.
he's just straight up the disaster.
But
of
all
everything.
what were those creatures in Godzilla 2014? They were
They
kind
were
of
like bugs.
like praying mantis or
Yeah.
cat type bugs or
I was
something.
kind of let down by them. I got to be honest.
They were kind of strange, but all they wanted to do was, make some love, make some babies. That's all they were trying to start a family.
Yeah, Godzilla had to come in there
he's like,
just be one giant cock block.
Yeah, he just had to shit all over that plan with his fire breath, that was the best part of that movie, definitely.
Oh,
the
yeah.
fire breath. Anyways,
Just the scale of Godzilla when you
Now-
actually see it against a city
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
yeah, and that's what they do great in the new one because his nuclear breath just levels like blocks and blocks of Tokyo like in one fell swoop.
Yeah,
Kinda-
it is like a nuclear blast when it comes out of him. It's,
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So
as it would be.
As it
It's
would
very,
be.
very biologically relevant.
yeah, but I just love Godzilla as the metaphor, as kind of the he's able to kind of and as he has done over the last 50, 60 years, he embodies what he needs to at the time. And I think there's a few
That's an
different,
interesting way to look at it.
there's a few different characters that kind of do that pop up like that. Obviously, I'm not going to think of any of them now while I'm making this point, but he definitely is kind of one of those where he is the protector when he needs to be, he's the threat when he needs to be.
Interesting.
He's like
he really
Magneto.
truly is a force of nature then.
He is, yeah, and he can be, yeah, exactly. He can represent nature. He can represent God. He can represent atomic, destruction. He can represent all the good and all the evil. It just depends on the context that you put him in. That's why I really like Godzilla. That's the sentiment we're going to go out on. This will be a break, and then we're going to talk about a very different type of Japanese horror movie, right?
Right.
It's going to get dark.
It's gonna get good. It's gonna get bloody, but in a fun way, if that's a thing.
Bring your family.
Yeah, bring the kid. Yeah, the kids can stay. They don't have to turn away for this one, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's fine. Ben's like, no, I don't think so. All right. Anyways, this is Hops and Monsters. I'm Charlie,
I'm Ben.
Engineer Ant.
Engineer Ant. On it. Take us out.
All right. Drinking some Sapporo here.
Yeah, Ben's got his Sapporo. I got mine. I'm still working on mine.
So, Charlie, do you
Yes.
know how batshit crazy Japanese cinema can get?
Oh, that's what I love about it. I mean, I love samurai movies. I love the anime, like Akira. Now that's pretty crazy, right? Akira.
Right? And they're remaking Ghost in the Shell right now.
Oh yeah, Ghost in the Shell. That should be weird. Yeah, I hope that's weird. I mean, I hope it's weird, right? Like,
hope it's
if
weird.
it's not weird, I'm going to be disappointed. Yeah, that stuff gets pretty bad shit. Pretty gonzo, right?
Right? But, I mean, the shit that we saw this week that we had to screen for this podcast.
Yes, that we had to. Yeah,
I mean-
we're about to get into some Japanese gore. Is that
Yeah.
is that the genre? Do we
I
call it?
suppose, I mean, I would rather just call it You got to be fucking kidding me. It's whatever genre that is.
Yeah, right, exactly. The Thing genre, yeah, of cinema. Well, yeah. So we just talked about Godzilla, the King of the Monsters. That's only kind of one aspect of Japanese cinema. So lately, we've been watching some over the top. I mean, is an understatement.
Right.
Splatter fest kind of stuff, but entertaining, fun. Kind of not, I guess, tongue in cheek, maybe a little bit.
Slapsticky, very violent, gross, and
yeah. So this is Japanese Gore.
You people wouldn't believe the things we've seen.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't exactly attack ships on fire off the coast of or off the
shoulder of Orion.
Shoulder of Orion. So much better. But yeah, we see some shit this week. You came over a couple days ago. We watched. Well, let's see. What was it?
We watched Hell Driver.
Hell Driver and Tokyo Gore Police.
And then you finished it off with Machine Girl.
And then I watched Machine Girl, which you also brought over for me. So, yeah, where do we want to start? So, okay, let's start with... I want to start with Battle Royale, just real quick. Just
going old school.
Or maybe even before that. Like,
I read the novel. I like it better than the film.
Yes, I did read the novel. I remember I was 19. And my friend had it, and I had just gotten out of high school and read that novel. I was like, oh, God. Glad I avoided that. But Battle Royale is kind of the original Hunger Games.
Right? Yeah, the Hunger Games ripped it off so hard, in my opinion.
Dark and actually violent and actually disastrous.
People really died.
Dystopian,
here.
yeah.
Children.
So, so I grew up seeing that, and then I was a fan of Suicide Club when it came out, which is very dark. And I was reading The Thing. You've got the Rue Morgue magazines in front of you.
Oh yeah, the Japanese Gore gang.
The Gore gang, and there's the one about the youth horror. So Japan apparently went through this really bad time in the 2000s with kids killing themselves. There's a big suicide rate.
It's still an epidemic over there.
Is it still?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I don't really know anything about that, but there were movies like Suicide Club and Battle Royale where kids were killing each other.
How suicide is glorified over there in Japanese culture.
Dark.
And it always has been. I mean, seppuku, harikiri, the samurais had, if they made one mistake, that was enough,
Man. That's definitely one of those where it's like, I love samurai stories. I love samurai movies.
Kurosawa movies.
I love everything about samurais. I would never want to be a samurai in a million years.
Yeah, because
never. That sounds like the worst life you could live. Yeah, you have to obey this lord, and then if he dies,
you make a socially awkward comment. You got to cut off a finger first.
Yeah, not only do you basically have to kill yourself if you screw up, but if your boss dies, you have to kill yourself.
Yeah, you're obligated to go to the grave with him.
You're done. That's no thanks. I'm good. I'll watch the stories. I'm fascinated with it. I love that stuff, but no, we're good. We're good. But anyways, what were we talking about? Okay, so. Growing up, getting out of high school, Battle Royale, Suicide Club, these movies that are dark. So I think Machine Girl, 2008, is kind of the transition from that old school youth horror into gore. Because Machine Girl's the first movie, chronologically anyways, that we watched this week, that employs the outrageousness, the body modification, the kind of splatter and
very Cronenberg.
Yeah, over the top effects. Basically, it's a girl.
Yeah, over the top effects. I beg to differ. It looks like they bought their props from the dollar store.
Well, that's true. That. Thank you. Yeah, that's a. That one's not the most slick of the movies, I would say.
None of them are.
Yeah, they're not really slick. They're low budget. I don't know. They're kind of cult. I mean, they're cult films, right?
Yeah, they are. They're exactly low budget.
They're not this isn't like mainstream Japanese.
This is how far
cinema.
you can go with just a crazy ass imagination.
Yeah, these movies are very cult in
If
Japan.
you thought their anime was nuts or their manga, my God, their live action is the most disturbing thing you'll ever see.
It is strange. It does look like manga come to life. It really does embody that. Especially the stuff like Machine Girl.
They seem to have a fetish with Western culture, particularly cowboys. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, there is a lot of that. In anime and the live action stuff. Yeah, there's a weird obsession and repulsion, I think, at the same time with Western culture. But I really enjoyed Machine Girl's just gushing blood. I mean, that's kind of the
Gushing
first
blood.
one where they just turn the fountain on full force.
Yeah.
And
Everyone's
just
got
spews.
like 500 psi blood body pressure.
Yeah, these people have great blood pressure in Japan. It is astounding.
You scratch yourself and you're just spraying the wall with arterial.
Yeah, you were hitting people like up to 25 feet, I would
Yeah.
say. I don't know. Yeah. So when did you kind of start finding these movies, Ben? I just told my history.
Oh, man, probably in the
'Cause
early
I feel
90s.
like you know more about this stuff than I do.
Tetsuo the Iron Man. I probably that's what set it
yeah.
off for me. Because I read somewhere that it was Trent Reznor's favorite movie at the time. This was before not the
Tetsuo
Fragile.
was like late 80s, maybe early 90s.
This is before the Downward Spiral came out.
Okay.
I was huge into Nine Inch Nails in 1988 when A Pretty Hate Machine dropped, and I read some interview where he's so like, yeah, Tetsuo the Iron Man, that's my favorite movie, and it's Eraserhead by David Lynch after that, and I was like, oh well, I got to check this out.
So he went Tetsuo and then Eraserhead.
No, I think it was the other way around.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
but-
Well, they're kind of the same.
Black
Not
and
the
white
same,
body
but
horror.
They very much
kind of-
feel the same. Yeah.
I hate to admit that I still haven't seen Eraserhead. That's the one
that's-
David Lynch film that I've got to still see.
Yeah. It's
We'll have to do a Hops and
now that we
Monsters
know, yeah.
screening one night.
you know, that would be a great episode. Just juxtaposing those two movies because they do,
Tetsuo and
Eraserhead.
Yeah.
Because
Okay, let's do that.
They have the same kind of narrative unfolding of. There's not really any dialogue. There's no one telling you what's going on. It's just events
right, and that the filmmaker Shinya
chaos.
Tsukamoto. I've just ordered a book on his cinema.
Oh, cool.
I want to read that first, and we'll come back and we'll talk about that.
All right, cool.
But
Sounds
yeah, that's
good.
pretty much where it started for me. Besides early, obviously Godzilla.
Sure. Well,
Which
yeah.
I was always super more into Godzilla than King Kong, for example.
But Tetsuo kind of, I think, is what sets the blueprint for the hyperactive.
It was cyberpunk at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very fast.
This is the
It's-
early
it's
90s,
relentless, is
94,
what
I
it
think.
is. And that's what I love about these gore movies. There's no downtime. There's no like breath. You think you get a breath, and then something even crazier jumps out at you.
Oh yeah,
And
their
are
cinema
just-
is all about extreme.
They're marathons, though.
You know?
Yeah, they're really. They don't.
It's like, how much of this can you take?
Yeah. About an hour and a half.
Like I watched a movie, another black and white kind of splatterpunk type movie in Japan. It was called Rubber's Lover the other night.
Oh, I've never heard that.
That was just hitting me. It's like a hammer over the head with just too much on screen at once, but it's
Oh,
still in
really?
black and white.
Yeah.
Very
Well-
fucking disturbing.
So, out of these these movies that we're talking about now, Tokyo Gore Police, Machine Girl, what did you have a first that kind of led you down the rabbit hole, or what kind of hooked you on these newer movies?
As far as the new generation of the Gore crew from Japan, I mean, I think probably Machine Girl.
yeah,
is probably the pinnacle of that. But the other ones that come after it, like Tokyo Gore Police, Hell Driver, and Samurai Princess was good too.
I didn't get.
The thing is,
Didn't get a
all
chance to watch
these
that
are
one.
all directed by different people, but all these directors all work on each other's films, either
Oh, yeah.
as assistant directors or effects specialists or even actors.
Yeah,
so it's
a
more
lot
of a
the same names
collective.
keep coming up. Yeah, and that's a big thing that's going on in indie horror in America right now too. You got to get like kind of the mumblecore indie horror.
Yeah, well, this is
Thai
mumblecore
West
for Japan,
It's always
I
on
would
another
probably
thing.
say.
Yeah, so I love that. Yeah, and you actually have that issue. I love that issue where
Yeah, I've got
they
Room Org in
interview
front of
the
me here.
various guys. What do they call them? The Gore brothers, the splatter crew. What they call
Okay, well, the production company is called Sushi Typhoon. So if you type that
That's
name
cool.
into Amazon, these films will come up, and
I could get behind that typhoon.
they're called the Gru Crew,
Oh yeah.
whatever that means.
Well, yeah, and we were talking, I think, the other night when we were watching these movies, just about like, because the stereotype in Japan, that at least from the Western perspective that we have, is they're very business, uptight, maybe quiet.
They don't really know how to have fun.
non-confrontational.
Like,
yeah,
they
and-
even said in this article here, it's like Japanese people, when they watch these films, they don't really know how to react to them. But
They're-
Americans, man, they love our stuff.
right. So, but do you see these movies as like a reaction to that kind of pent up? repress.
Yeah. I think if you repress anything, it's going to come out in one way or another.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
So that's why they get really crazy and wacky with all this stuff. I mean, you're talking about a country where it's legal to sell preteen used undergarments out of a vending machine.
right. There's definitely a imbalance somewhere there in the psyche if that's happening. Or I don't know. I mean,
It's like they're an alien culture.
or is
But I
it?
love Japanese culture. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, but I always think of the Simpsons quote where he goes to the gay steel mill, and he says, "We work hard, we play hard." Bum 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 bum.
Just like the village people.
I mean, maybe and you hear all the stories about how much these Japanese businessmen drink after the day and how they have to kind of
they're down with their
they're
drinking.
expected to party hard.
They even have Japanese made scotch now.
Oh yeah, delicious.
What is that? Yamazaki, I think.
And to live in a city like Tokyo, and I think Godzilla, going back to that, kind of has as much to do with, I think, the feeling of living in maybe such a massive kind of huge city as Tokyo. I'm sure it could feel overwhelming.
Very claustrophobic.
Yeah. So
I don't know if I can handle it.
And again, this is just from my Western perspective, but these gore movies that we were watching especially seem like the ultimate release. Just the ultimate, like, screaming into your pillow, just get it out there.
There's a lot of screaming and a lot of
gallons of
blood,
blood.
bleeding.
Yeah. I would love to talk more about Hell Driver, especially. That one was my favorite.
that one was great because that movie started off with the director giving a personal thanks on film
Yeah.
to us watching his film, and he suggested that we drink a beer while we watch it.
And we were, thankfully.
Yeah.
We were.
We were drinking fresh squeezed.
The fresh
by
squeeze.
Deschutes.
Yeah, you generously bought a 6-pack of that. Yeah, we were like, it's a good thing we're drinking these beers because if not, we would have to stop this movie and go drink and go get
Luckily,
beers.
you live like 2 blocks away from where we can easily get
Yeah,
beer.
we got the beers. Yeah, I know, that was so funny. He's like, he just comes like, and he just literally just comes on camera like, thanks for buying this Blu-ray or DVD or whatever. This movie's a roller coaster. Have fun. Have a couple beers with it, or drink of your choice. All right, thanks.
In fact,
and then
he
the movie
says-
starts, and it's like, that's such a, like, you never see like a personal message like that.
I was like,
I wanna
okay,
do
this
that.
dude fucking rules.
I
if he's gonna
love
say
that. I was like, I want to be the guy who makes a movie, and then at the beginning of the movie, he's just like, all right, thanks for buying this. You guys are awesome.
His
Have a
name
beer."
is Yoshihiro Nishimura, by the way.
Yes.
He's the director of Hell Driver and Tokyo Gore Police.
Yes. Yeah, the two we
Great
watched.
films. Find them on Amazon. Watch
So
them.
fun. I mean, just so bloody and crazy, but fun.
If you want your jaw to be on the floor the whole time you're watching the TV,
Right.
these are the films to watch.
Yeah, I know. And Hell Driver especially, I love the concept, and it felt very kind of that one I think felt maybe the most relatable to me because it is kind of like a zombie outbreak movie.
Right. And it had that girl from Audition, Takashi Miike's Audition.
It did. Yeah. I know you spotted that. Whatever, I don't have her name in front of me, but yeah, the main girl in 1999's Audition shows up
got it
again
here
as kind of the
somewhere.
evil mother. But basically, Hell Driver, this I guess it's an alien force or a meteorite or something lands. Half Japan turns into a zombie horde, so they build a giant wall to block them off and fight against them. But there's like this black market. So, and then Ben, that reminded me of the thing that comes out of their forehead.
Yeah,
Like
what
From
the
Beyond,
hell was
right?
that?
It's kind of
Okay.
like the pineal gland like version of
It was like From Beyond,
right. Yeah,
you know,
I don't know
but
why I'm
it
blanking on
came
it.
out
Yeah.
into like a fork, and it was like a horn on the forehead, and
And
so not
yeah,
only
go
does this
ahead.
happen, but people who aren't infected with this chop off these horns and crush them up and snort them like a drug. Is this some William
love that.
Burroughs Naked Lunch up in here?
Yeah, it's a total black market. Yeah, it's a total black market of that same thing.
A taste of the true black meat?
Yeah. And then the makeup, the zombie makeup, also reminded me a lot of Evil Dead. So there was a lot of.
Oh, this movie was so Evil Dead. My God.
It's very Evil Dead, and it's very Cronenberg, and it's very
there was some Blade Runner thrown in there too. I mean, with
Absolutely.
that skit with the guy, about the 2 noodles
Oh,
versus
yeah.
the 4.
That guy was Edward James almost
Right.
out of Blade Runner,
And then
right?
he's
With the
dressed
trench
up
coat and stuff.
like straight out. The director of this movie has a serious Blade Runner fetish. I don't think he would mind admitting that.
Yeah, I think
Which
he
it's one of my it's
laid it out there.
one of my
in a
favorite movies of all time. So
really
that's all
great
good.
way. Yeah, no, that was funny. Yeah, so it's a great mix of all of that stuff coming together, and I was just, I loved it.
It was everything I wanted to see in a movie.
Yeah. So your main heroine, it's a lady in Hell Driver.
Right.
Is she
she's
the
got
Hell
a
Driver? Is she the
samurai
titular?
sword that's a chainsaw. A
Yes.
chainsaw samurai sword, heart powered.
Heart-powered, pacemaker,
Yeah.
samurai
She
chainsaw.
has this motor on her chest that starts up
man,
with a
so
ripcord
cool.
like a lawnmower, and
That's great. Is
Then-
she the Hell Driver? I didn't really know what that it was. The title.
I don't know,
referring
but
to
it's
her?
metal as fuck.
It was awesome. It was so good. Yeah, that's a great one. If you just love the fun of just seeing it felt like kind of a video game. It felt like anime.
Yeah, their
It was
movies
just
are like
so
video
great.
games.
It was so
right?
colorful. It was so just it felt like No More Heroes. You ever play No More Heroes?
Fuck yeah, that was a great game.
That was kind of the way you would approach a bunch of villains, and you would just hack limbs, and then it would just spray forever, and like that's kind of what's going on in these movies.
I would love to
that.
see an American director remake one of these for our audience. You can't do it.
I
You can't.
would love to see a European director remake these movies. I don't know if I want to. Well, or like how Denis Villeneuve is doing Blade Runner. It's like get a guy like that to tackle this kind of stuff.
I
Or
don't
Peter
think
Jackson.
it's possible.
You know, this also reminded me of Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson could do it, and Guillermo del Toro could totally do it.
What's the one where the the guy who kicks ass for the Lord? Is that Dead Alive or
Dead Alive.
Yeah.
He's got samurai or karate moves. Or
Right.
some
And
kind of
he
thing.
does the whole thing with the lawnmower.
Yeah.
Dude, that's one of the best scenes ever, right? Okay, so Hell Driver reminded me a lot of that, of Dead Alive.
So just blood
Just
everywhere.
blood and mania and like hyperactivity, and it's not taking itself seriously. It's just having fun with it and just throwing all this shit against the wall. And so at one point, okay, so you want to do the what's the top 10 craziest things you saw in a movie this?
Oh man,
I think
we've
that- I
got
think
lists
it's
here
time.
to go.
Okay. So because of this, we saw a lot of crazy stuff in these movies, especially Tokyo Gore Police and Hell Driver and Machine Girl. So I think we're going to go...
All right,
All right, so you give me one, and then I'll top you. And then
okay,
you're gonna
you top
me.
this.
Okay.
48 minutes into Hell Driver, the actual credits roll. How are you going to top that?
He started big, and I'm so glad you mentioned that. 48 minutes into the movie, the credits roll. That is unheard of.
Yeah, I'm thinking 48-minute.
We're sitting
intro
there
scene.
and it's like, and then it's like, and it's full credits. It's like
Yeah,
cast.
they mention everybody.
crew. Oh my god, it's so funny.
You think it's the end, even, And then the movie starts.
It's a 2-hour movie. 48 minutes in, they do the credits. All right, that's a good one. Well, shit, I don't have a. I was gonna
Right.
say. I was gonna
How
say.
can you top that?
I was gonna say Chainsaw Samurai Sword, but we already
We
brought
already
it up.
mentioned that.
Damn it! All right. How about the? Okay, at the beginning of Hell Driver, that first zombie that's like the skull and the whole spine extended out beyond above the head.
Yeah, like what
outside
the
of the
hell
body.
happened there, man?
That reminded me of Return of the Living Dead with like the skull, the kind of the bad skull with the eyeballs in it. Makeup.
That's pretty good.
Effects. Yeah, that reminds. So I'm gonna go with.
You're gonna go with
Return of
that?
the Living Dead zombie in Hell Driver. Yes, I'm gonna say
I
that.
will see that, and I will raise you a reanimator style head. Disembodied head. 4 or 5 of them completely eating a woman to death, like down to the bone,
Yeah.
while she's still standing.
Oh yeah, that was pretty bad. and she was still like, yeah, and she's like, that hurt, and then dies. Yeah, no.
And of course, it started, where Reanimator would.
Where
pick up.
you would. Okay, well, what? Okay, I will top that with the severed head in the cooking pot in Machine Girl. This girl takes revenge for her brother's death on a family, so she cuts one guy's head off, puts it in a big pot like a stew, makes the other family member look into it, like, oh, look, what's in there? And she's like, oh, it's my brother. And then she sticks the knife in her, comes out through the mouth, and the girl vomits on the disembodied head in the pot. How's
Ooh.
that? That is
nasty.
And it is as gross as I just made it sound. And I'm grossing myself out describing it.
You want to be grossed out?
That's great. Oh, you want to be grossed out?
How
All right,
about
gross
this?
me out, son.
A lap full of dicks. As in penises.
Yeah. As
just,
in,
like this dude just grew like 12 of them in his
that's a hell of a mutation. Yeah.
I
no, I
couldn't
remember.
even believe
I
they
remember.
showed that. What
was
the
that in?
hell?
Was that in Tokyo Gore Police?
You
Or
know,
was
those
it in the
movies
other
all
one?
blur together
Yeah.
for me. It's one. My nightmares look like these films.
Yeah, that was a lot of dicks. How about old drill tits? Let's go drill tits.
The drill bra.
She had
in Machine Girl.
I guess it was a bra. It probably wasn't her actual. And she drilled with them. They were not gone to
She
waste.
drilled into someone's chest
That
with
was
those.
that was intense.
Who thinks this shit up,
Guys,
folks?
yeah, we're not making this up. These are things we saw in film
We witnessed this
in the
all right?
last few days. Yeah,
These are
all
committed to
things that
print.
already happened. This isn't
Well,
us.
On that note, I mean, blood lactation. Like someone, one of those heads. Chewing
Yeah.
off nipples and just blood just spurting out like a fire hose, and both.
Yeah, again, great blood pressure. Yeah.
Right,
And to all extremities.
The Japanese are very healthy people.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, what about the guy who in Machine Girl, the chef spills some food on the kid, and then they make him eat his own fingers on sushi rolls?
Oh God.
That's a good one.
Oh,
That is a good.
that was-
Machine Girl, I felt like was pretty cruel.
Yeah.
That
movie was dark.
That movie is dark. The other one's Tokyo Gore Police and stuff. They have fun with it. Machine Girl was like, nah, eat your fucking fingers. I don't care. Eat them. I'm going to go with that one, definitely. What else you got?
In Tetsuo, he grows this giant appendage and it spins around like a drill.
He does.
And he gets down to business with his girlfriend with it.
Yeah.
She doesn't last long.
She doesn't. Yeah, in a twist, she doesn't last long.
Yeah, it's like the Japanese have a fetish for motor mechanisms,
Yeah, there's a lot of man meets machine.
This is power tool porn, folks.
Yeah, that's true. Especially, yeah, that is weird. It's a reoccurring theme. I wonder what's going on there. How about nails in the face guy?
Pinhead? Clive Barker?
Well, they do a
Hellraiser?
version of Pinhead in Machine Girl where they get the information out of a guy by nailing a bunch of nails into his head. And then they take him out, though. They do take him out later. So.
I don't know. I feel more squeamish about Bill Pullman's role in Serpent of the Rainbow when they pound a nail into his scrotum.
Ooh,
I think that's kind of more over the top, but
Okay. You win this one, Wes Craven.
what about this?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, your turn.
A set of detachable breasts that when you pull them off, you clamp them together and you throw them like a mace.
Which one did
I
that-
think this happened in Samurai Princess.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that one. They're each one half of the circular mace with spikes sticking out of it, and then you have a chain that you whip them around by.
Yeah, like this robotic cyber chick just, detaches her breasts.
Okay.
Smashes them together.
Sure.
They turn into some sort of
Smart.
giant mace thing, and she pummels the shit out of people
I'm
with
okay
them.
with that. Yeah.
What a way to go.
Well, that's what's, I was going to say, it's kind of cheating, but I was going to one-up you with anything in Tokyo Gore Police, because I feel like that whole movie is just one.
I don't think I can one-up that whole movie. I think
it's just the whole premise of that movie is any body part that gets injured. So if your hand gets cut
becomes
off,
weaponized.
It becomes weaponized.
Turns into a gun or a sword or a stabbing appendage. Or
right, and if
what
your
have
eye
you.
gets taken out, it turns into like a mini cannon. If your ear gets taken out,
Yeah.
it turns into
It's
some sort of
live action
it's so
anime.
Bizarre. It is like they're just it's almost like you're making this up as you go along, right?
They must be, right?
Right? Like,
because
what
unless
else
people
can we do
really
with
have
this?
nightmares like this and are able to really
So strange. That one is the weirdest. So that I was just gonna say anything in Tokyo Gore Police, but
Yeah.
that feels like cheating. So
Needless to say, I'm a fan of the genre.
I'm a
And
fan.
I can't wait to see what these directors are going to come out with next.
Yeah, exactly. That is kind of part of the fun, especially like with Hell Driver, right? You see the zombie car, you see
The zombie plane, remember that
right.
shit?
Well,
What
I was
the
gonna say
fuck?
there's a car made out of zombie body parts, and you're like, okay, how are they gonna top that? And then a plane.
Oh, they do.
A plane.
Not only with a plane, but they also have a sword fight with like a giant, massive blade on the hood of this Toyota truck, fighting a dude with a bunch of samurai swords stabbed in him.
It's amazing. Oh, and then
And
they
he's
have
like shifting gears while he's trying to like run
they
him
have
over with
the paraplegic with the machine gun legs.
or
right?
the paraplegic woman
Oh my god.
with blades on her arms.
You guys, you hear what we're saying here? These are things we
She's
saw.
got no hands or feet. She's just got blades and she walks
We
on
didn't
them.
come up with this. This is things we saw on a screen.
And this dude keeps it like a gimp pet. You know,
Oh my
it's dressed up
God.
in S&M gear and he walks it around on a chain.
Yeah.
It's so wrong. It's so wrong.
right. What the fuck, man? Like you said, you got to be fucking kidding me.
That's what we should title this episode.
All right. Well, so go see these movies. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we encourage
Yeah.
people to go see them. They're great.
There's a few others we should mention, like
Oh, yeah.
Karate Robot Zabagor
Ooh,
and
just
Mutant
sounds
Girl
good.
Squad.
sure.
There's a couple others, but you know the big ones are Machine Girl, Hell Driver, Tokyo Gore Police, and Tetsuo the Iron Man. Go
Yeah.
check these out.
That's the Godfather right there. And that
You have
one
not seen
definitely-
extreme cinema. You do not know it unless you've seen these films.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. Yeah, this is as extreme as it gets that I can think of.
And definitely drink these while watching a beer.
Oh, please.
It's director specified.
Drink
these while watching a beer.
That's it. We're going out on that. That's the perfect out. Drink these while watching a beer. This has been Hops and Monsters. I'm Charlie.
I'm Ben.
Oh man.
Have a good night, guys. Watch some Japanese gore and hit us up, hopsandmonsters@gmail.com. Love ya.
Send us some artwork.
Yeah, please. Bye.